Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not my problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem,
but it's certainly someone's problem.
All right, ghosties, listen up. We've got a little spooky surprise for you this month.
Ooh, I love surprises. What is it? Is it candy? Ghosts?
Better. If you join our Patreon any time in the month of September, you will get 50% off your first month with code SPOOKY50.
Half off? That's basically free. And you get all the goodies, exclusive content, mini episodes, bonus stories, basically all the paranormal weirdness you can handle.
Exactly. So if you've been thinking, should I join? The answer is yes. Half off is not something that the ghosts do very often.
Go to patreon.com/notmyghost, and use code SPOOKY50 and come haunt us. I mean, come join us. We have a very special guest on the podcast today.
Yes, we do.
His name is Don. Say hi, Don.
Hi, Don. Hey, everybody.
Don is someone that Jen and I know, and Don was a paranormal investigator that we haven't investigated with, but we'll get a little bit more into that in a bit.
Yeah. But first, we have to do our scripted, unscripted banter because, of course, we do.
Right. Don, you probably don't know what scripted, unscripted banter is. So every episode starts with us.
I just banter.
Yeah, basically.
It is banter, but then we usually have a scripted part where we come up with a question that we ask. Mm-hmm. So this week's question is, which household object would you possess to be the most annoying to someone?
That's a good question.
So if you wanted to annoy the crap out of somebody, what would you possess? What object in their home?
Well, because I'm a musician, it's got me going into different percussion instruments. And I think if it were me, I'd probably possess a pair of maracas.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Good.
That's assuming they have a set of maracas to possess.
Or any, musical instruments in general.
Yeah. Or like, something that makes a lot of noise in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Set of pots, something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. A radio. You just randomly go off.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to be heard.
Yeah.
I was thinking radio, and I was thinking because I'm going to spend a lot of time in this house with these people. So I'm going to know what they like and what they don't like. So I'm going to play a lot of what they don't like.
It's a lot of Rick Astley.
I got a good one, guys. I'm going to possess an Alexa or a Google or whatever smart home device they have, because I can do so much with that.
You're right.
You're in control at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're running the show.
Absolutely. Especially if they have it hooked up to a lot of stuff in their house. I can change temperatures. I can mess with lights, music, randomly spew out random facts.
Jen out here creating her own cold spots, turning the temperature down.
I would just have to interject with an occasional nope.
Yeah.
Alexa, can you do this for me? Nope.
Nope. No, I cannot.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. If they ask me to call them by their name, I'm just going to be like, no, I can't do that, you stupid cunt, or something fun like that.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mom comes over, you could say something like, I don't know, great, here comes her bitch ass mom again, or, just
Exactly.
Right.
Remember when you said that she had a fat ass? Just shit like that would be great.
Amazing.
I like it, Jen.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And again, same thing with the radio fact. I could just start playing random music at random times.
Yeah.
They're getting sexy time in the bedroom. I can put something sexy on for them, or something really obnoxious if I don't want them to have sexy time in the bedroom.
My wife and I always laugh about some movie we saw. I think it's called The Other Sister. And they played, I don't know, I want to get too deep into it, but basically it was a couple that they both had Down syndrome. And he always wanted to play like marches during the sexy time. So like 21 trombones and stuff like that.
I love
it was hysterical.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, I would want to possess the home of like the broiest sports dude that during the football game, if they so much as like flash past Taylor Swift for half a second, they like come unglued, and I would just like, I'd play Taylor Swift like all day, every day. Like every time we walked in the room, we'd have a new Taylor Swift song on.
Love that.
Amazing.
I'd make him hate radio so much he would never own one again.
Yeah.
Awesome. That'd be great. All right. Well, should we get into our topic?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Our topic is an interview with Don.
Hey.
That's what we're here to do today, guys.
That Don guy.
What starts as just another investigation turned into something unforgettable. Our friend Don, a seasoned paranormal investigator, once had the chance to explore my old home as a part of a local Maryland ghost hunting team. He didn't expect too much going in, but something about that house left a lasting impression. That experience helped spark something bigger. Don eventually founded his own group, Spiritus, which, fun fact, is how we all started investigating together. This episode is part haunted history, part field report, and part reunion with a fellow ghost chaser who's been with us since the beginning. So grab your EMF reader, a flashlight, and maybe don't listen to this one alone, because the past doesn't always stay quiet. That was our introduction. Wasn't that beautiful, Don?
That was really good. I'm ready. I'm fired up.
Great. Yeah.
Let's do this.
But first, we have some facts.
Yes.
So we always do whatever topic we're talking about, Don. Mm-hmm. We always try to come up with a couple of fun facts and scary facts about that topic.
Okay.
So these facts are about paranormal investigating, specifically paranormal investigators. So our first fact is paranormal groups love acronyms.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, gosh.
Names like TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. People get very creative about, what is that word? Did I put in there?
Backronyms?
Backronyms? What is that?
What is a backronym, Kelly?
Nice.
I have no idea what
that's
a
like.
backronym
That's
is.
like when you level up your acronym and then you spell them backwards.
Yeah.
So not only is it an acronym, but you got to figure out what it is in reverse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You might be onto something there, Don.
It's a backronym.
It's not even close enough. Like, it's got the K in it. Like, that's not an autocorrect.
Maybe I was a little drunk when I was doing it.
You might have been.
Okay. So people do get very creative with their acronyms or backronyms.
Whichever you prefer.
To sound official and spooky, like GHOST, which stands for Ghost Hunters of Supernatural Truths.
I've always hated trying to come up with creative acronyms. I'm a very creative person, but for whatever reason, when it comes to that, I blank.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we came up with the Spiritus name, we just kind of avoided that entirely.
Yeah. Smart.
It's like, and then apparently Spiritus was also like I don't know, there's an association with alcohol as well. So we felt like for us, it was like, okay, that makes it work even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Spiritus it is,
Yeah.
Yeah. Considering the only time I investigated with you guys, we had a whole night of drinking before the night of investigating. That makes sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was never a true investigation unless we were absolutely hungover for it.
Yeah. 100%.
You got to have a little fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
Our second fact is paranormal investigators do not get paid. Most do it for passion or obsession. Groups investigate on weekends using their own money for travel and gear. In fact, if a team asks for payment, do not use that team.
Yeah.
And I like that part too, because if you're paying someone, I feel like that puts the group into a, well, we better deliver with results.
Yeah.
That maybe they might fake things or make things seem a little, I don't know, worse or more intense than they are. I don't know. Because depends on what the people want. If the people don't want there to be anything, then they might be really happy about that. But
yeah, I feel like it would, just my opinion, it would probably depend on what is the client looking for?
Yeah.
Like, what is the objective, right? Is it like Kelly, like what you said, is it to try to disprove or prove? And then if there's funds involved, well, at the end of the day, you're providing a service. So if you don't provide proof or disproof, then have you done that service?
Yeah.
right.
It just creates unnecessary, in my opinion, bias towards whatever the client's, their desired result would be.
Yeah. And all three of us know how expensive gear and travel
Yeah.
and all of that can be.
Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely. Now, the
Yep.
dream, though, is because I know Kelly and I always say the dream is that one day this podcast will take off and we'll get paid to do the podcast. And then we can use the funds from the podcast to go and investigate more places and then do episodes on the places we investigate. So technically, we would be getting paid to investigate, but not by the location itself.
Right. That's a
Yeah.
whole different thing.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be doing
that sounds incredible.
homes. Yeah, we wouldn't be doing like homes and stuff. We would be doing like larger scale. Like that's the dream.
Commercial. Yeah.
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 That's the dream.
Sure.
Makes sense. That's a good one.
It is. Our third fun fact is not all investigations rely solely on EMF detectors and audio recorders. Some groups regularly work with psychics or mediums to tune in to the vibes of a haunted location. Some even claim better results when combining tech with intuition. And I guess that would be up to everybody's opinion on psychics and mediums.
What's your thoughts on psychics and mediums, Don?
I've always been more of a fact-based, result-based, something that as tangible as possible type investigation, like technique or approach, I guess is what I've had. But at the same time, I am not so, trying to think of the best way to put this. I've always been open to that. There are things that I don't understand, and there are tools that others have that I may not. And whenever I have met someone who is claimed to have these abilities, I basically have taken them at their word until my own intuition is either taking them as, okay, I believe them or I don't, essentially.
Right.
So it's kind of, for me, it's gray area. It depends on the individual, but I've definitely we've had in the past in our group, we've had some that had those, I should say, claim to have those abilities. And it was actually an interesting resource to have.
Yeah.
For investigation, to be able to compare with the actual information that we were collecting, along with the feelings and vibes and those types of things. So, right, long-winded answer, but yeah.
No, it's a great answer.
Great answer.
It's kind of where my head's at with it.
Yeah, I always get a little hesitant when I see them on TV, because with TV, you just never know. Like, I know a lot of different paranormal shows will bring in psychics regularly, and they'll be like, oh, the psychic has no idea the location, like they don't know where we are, or they'll blindfold them or something. And I'm like, this is great if it's actually true. Like, if they actually don't know where they are, if they know no information, it's fantastic. But it's so hard in television. I mean, really, any evidence that you collect on a television show, it's hard to be like, did that really happen?
Yeah.
Right. All right. We have some scary facts.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go.
It's not uncommon for investigators to report hauntings starting after an investigation. Scratches, knocks, nightmares, or strange behavior in pets. Some even perform cleansing rituals after each case, just in case something followed them home. Jen makes me sage a lot.
I do.
And then she gets mad at me because I don't really necessarily believe that it does anything. And she's like, you have to believe it.
You have to believe it for it to work, Kelly.
I'm like, whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. A handful of teams believe there are traveling or non-local entities, dark figures, mimics, or shadow people that seem to show up across different.
I was all right on board with you. I knew
Were you?
exactly. Yep.
Thank you.
You can, I mean, whatever kind of words you want to make up, I'm there.
Across different investigations, even across states. Some think they're not ghosts, but something older than that. So I have seen some shows where maybe they're dealing with something darker. They believe that maybe it's something demonic, which unfortunately everything seems to be demonic nowadays on
It
paranormal
does.
shows. But I have seen some cases where they get like the same name or information and different locations of what something that appears to be the same entity, just in a
What a-
completely different
What
location. What?
What about the old jail and then back at my apartment after we did that investigation, Kelly?
That's right.
So when Kelly and I in January investigated the old jail in St. Augustine, we did the Estes method. Do you know what that is, Don?
I don't.
Okay, so do you know what a spirit box is?
Yes.
Okay, so we use the spirit box, but with the Estes method, the person that goes under puts headphones on and hears the spirit box, and they're blindfolded. So they can't hear the questions that are being asked to the spirit box. And then you just call out whatever it is that you're hearing from the spirit box. So when you get responses, it feels a little bit more legitimate because your mind can't like hear the words based on the questions that are being asked because you don't
Right,
know the
and
questions.
and you're
Gotcha.
blindfolded, so you can't
Yeah.
even see when somebody's asking
No.
something. It's
You're
like complete
completely-
sensory deprivation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when we went to the
Interesting.
old jail and Kelly was under on the Estes method and I was asking questions, she kept saying, be quiet or quiet to me, like telling me to be
Mhm.
quiet. That's what she was hearing. And of course, I'm joking around like, how rude. The spirit just doesn't like me. It's being rude.
Yeah.
And then we came back to the apartment and we did the Estes method there because, again, we have our haunted dolls. So we were seeing if we could get anything there. And Kelly kept getting the same thing, like be quiet, but only directed towards me because we had another friend that was with us at the time that was asking questions. And whenever
And it
I
would literally say, I kept hearing, not you, only him. Like only he can talk. Like you cannot talk, Jen. Only he
Yeah.
can talk. Not you, only him.
and it was like
Wow, that's
2
crazy.
days
And it was-
after. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't like I was just hearing something say quiet. It was like angry almost, like quiet. Like shut her up.
Yeah.
Something
It
didn't
was
like me.
Goodness.
pretty cool.
It was.
Apparently.
Yeah. Something told me to be quiet not too
Wow.
long ago,
It
didn't it?
did. Where were we? When was it?
I don't
Oh
remember.
no, it was at Penhurst.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when we were at Penhurst and we had the spirit box going, you were talking and something said quiet, and I laughed because I'm like, finally, a spirit's telling Kelly to shut up instead of me.
Okay. Now,
Oh,
our
that's
last
funny.
scary fact, and I think this one is pretty interesting because I have never experienced or seen this, that some groups report that a previously reviewed EVP recording will sound different days later. New words appear, messages become clearer, or the voice is suddenly angry instead of neutral. I thought that was interesting. I'd like to see something like that happen one day.
Didn't that happen in an episode of Project Fear where they play? Because they always, when they do their EVPs, they listen back to them immediately. And they played it and they heard something and then they went to go back to listen to it again to see what it said and it wasn't there. I don't remember what episode it was,
Oh,
but I
wow.
remember
I think
that
you're
happening.
right. Yeah,
Because
I
of course
think you're right.
they're videoing themselves listening to the recorder. So we all heard it on the video. But then when they replayed that same part of the recorder, you heard the question and then silence and then the next question, even though we literally just heard a voice there. That was really weird. I don't remember what episode it was though.
Yeah, I've never experienced that, but that would freak me out a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
That would definitely be scary.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
Honestly, with
Wow.
my ADHD brain, unless I was like recording myself listening to it the first time, I would just assume that I misheard it or it was my brain messing up.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd probably do the same.
It's interesting that they had it on camera though, so they
Yeah.
could go back.
Yeah.
All right.
That was
so That is our scripted, unscripted banter and our facts. But before we get into the episode, Don, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you into the paranormal world.
What brought me into the paranormal world? So for me, it goes way back to when I was 16, camping at Point Lookout, Maryland. It's considered one of the more haunted places, especially for Maryland, but in probably the entire East Coast, due to the lighthouse that's on the premises. It's got a lot of stories there. The whole place does. It used to be a Civil War prison camp, and the stories have collected and been passed on from years to years. And anyway, that's where I had my first encounter. Had a spirit entity of some sort come right up to me and a friend, and basically we had to stare down with this thing for a short period of time, and then it walked away and disappeared into a pile of stones. And me and my friend at that point ran back to our campsite, and from then on, it's basically I want to say a believer, but a knower at that point. Like I knew ghosts existed at that point. I was open to it, but then the fact that I experienced it with someone at the same time, we didn't say a word. We just kind of stopped, saw this thing come up to us, saw it disappear. That was it for me. So from then on, it was more about, I kind of want to do that again. I kind of want to see this again.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what the heck even, what was that? What happened? And of course, we're talking Stone Ages at this point. So there was no internet. There was no finding like-minded or just anyone that you could have a conversation with about that kind of thing. Was hard to connect in that sense back then. We're talking early 90s. Internet was starting to come around. But anyway, so then years later, was able to link up with some people, and through the course of time, ended up joining a group, getting some experience, met some other people that got along with really, really well. We started our own group, and that was Spiritus, which was me and my friend Chris. Really enjoyed putting that together, and felt like we did as good of a job as we could have. A lot of experience there, and some good times, and felt like we helped a bunch of people out, which was the ultimate goal for what we were doing. And it was a fun journey. And at this point, I think we're on the other end of that. Chris and I both have families now, and those type of things keep you busy. And the paranormal investigating doesn't happen quite as much as you would like it to. But so anyway, long-winded answer there, but that's the backstory.
Yeah. So we actually have a little bit of information about Point Lookout. Jen,
we do.
Yeah,
sure. So we know when we were kind of, figuring out what we wanted to talk about today, we asked you specifically some places. We just dug into very brief history. The Point Lookout Lighthouse is located at the southern tip of Maryland, where the Potomac River meets the Chesapeake Bay. Gorgeous, but isolated, I've been told. I've never been, which blows my mind that I lived in Maryland for so long and never went there, but it's on my list. But it is prime haunting territory. So the lighthouse itself was built in 1830. And it was originally constructed to guide ships through the tricky, shifting waterways around the Chesapeake Bay. It started as a small 1.5-story building with a beacon on the roof and expanded over the years. During the Civil War, the Point Lookout became the site of a massive Union prison camp, Camp Hoffman. It held over 50,000 Confederate soldiers in horrific conditions. Disease, starvation, and exposure led to thousands of deaths. There was also a hospital for wounded soldiers, both Union and Confederate, adding to the site's tragic energy. The place is known to be one of the most haunted lighthouses in America, which Kelly and I always joke that every place we talk about says they're the most haunted whatever in America.
Right.
The second episode of the podcast, we did the St. Augustine Lighthouse because that's where I am. And I'm pretty sure they claim to be the most haunted lighthouse in America too. So
Sure.
But they have reported disembodied voices, some being caught on EVPs, apparitions of soldiers, a woman in a white dress, and even the original lighthouse keeper has been spotted. Cold spots have been felt, shadowy figures have been seen, footsteps heard, lights flickering in different rooms that people aren't in. Some people have even claimed to hear moaning or crying coming from the prison campsite, especially near the water. And it is a very popular place for ghost hunters and paranormal investigating groups to go. It has been featured on Ghost Hunters and My Ghost Story. EVPs recorded there have included phrases like "get out" and "help me," which I feel like are always super common EVP phrases. But today, the lighthouse is managed by the U.S. Navy and the Maryland Park Service. It is closed to overnight stays, but daytime tours and occasional ghost events do happen, especially around Halloween.
That's cool. Did you hear anything when you were talking through my
I
audio?
did. I don't know whose
Because I heard
audio, but
something.
I definitely heard some noises.
I heard something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
We frequently get haunted while we record, Don.
Gotcha.
It kind of sounded like it was behind me.
It hasn't happened in a while.
No, it hasn't. But I don't hear. So the only person home is Katie, and I just watched her walk in front because my desk looks out a window. And I just watched her walk on the sidewalk over to she gets on the swings.
Well,
But it sounded like it was in here.
You did just yell at your dolls and tell them that they needed to do something, because I was telling you about the activity that I had today with my dolls.
Elias, go ahead and spin yourself and play some tunes for us.
Yeah, she has like a music box clown that'll just randomly turn on and start playing music.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I love him. He's really cool.
Yeah. We get haunted on purpose.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
So
alrighty.
Back to this. Any other stories or things you had happen at the Point Lookout or the Lighthouse in general?
I have a question about it. Did that thing say anything to you?
Not a word.
What did it look like? Was it like a full person?
It was one of those things where in the moment, my brain was processing it as a person. Like there was no doubt in my mind that it was a person. It wasn't until I literally saw it disappear there was a big pile of stones on the side of the road. And instead of it walking up and over the stones, it literally walked through the stones like Scooby-Doo style and completely disappeared. So it wasn't until that point that, okay, the disbelief. And I'm 16, so me and this friend I'm with, like, we're freaking out, run back to the campsite, and then my mind is on replay. And then I realized at that point, I never saw feet. I never really saw a face. It was just a very grayed out. I mean, I had to call it like a person, I guess.
Yeah.
But it looked, I mean, it was almost as if I felt like it was like an old soldier. That's what it was just a feeling, but I felt like it was an old soldier.
Okay.
And it felt like it was on a mission, like it was very quickly walking. And I almost felt like we were in its way. And that's why I kind of stopped and looked like, what are you even doing here? And then, like I said, just went about its business and gone. You know,
did you say anything to your parents when you got back to the camp?
Yeah. I mean, because we couldn't contain ourselves at that point.
Right.
So we went back. They were all sitting around a fire, and we were just like, you know, what you would expect teenagers to do, like a little overreaction also, but you know, but they were just like, yeah, whatever. It was just somebody camping. You know, like they didn't really want to believe us.
I do have to ask, because you did say you were 16. Now you were with your family, so that makes it slightly less likely, but were you under the influence of anything?
No.
Okay.
Believe it or not. I hadn't started that yet.
I wanted to make sure, because,
that was a couple years later.
Teenagers on a camping trip with a friend. Like, yeah, I just wanted to make clear the air on that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Right. No, absolutely. No, yeah, we were completely stone sober.
Okay.
That's great.
I just heard completely stoned. No, I'm kidding.
We're completely stoned, man. We don't know what we were looking at.
We don't know what we saw.
It's like, hey, buddy, you want some?
Yeah. Okay.
That's so
I have
funny.
to ask, because we do like to come at stuff from like the skeptical side as well. Like, obviously,
of
you
course.
know us. We both believe in the paranormal, but we also think that a lot of what people report probably can easily be explained, because that's what we do.
I get that.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So did you have anything else happen at the Lighthouse? Have you gone back like as an adult?
Yeah. So to kind of add a little bit more to the story, where we saw this thing was not at the lighthouse. It was in the campground.
Okay.
As you're going down, I think it's technically Route 3. You pass the campground first, and then you go past where the prison camp used to be. Only really one road at that point. It was one road in and one road out. So you go past the campground first, and then you go past, there's where Camp Huffman used to be. You'll pass that on the right, and then there's a picnic area. And then at the very end of the road where it loops back around is the lighthouse.
Okay.
That's right at the peninsula of the entire place. But that entire area there have been hauntings reported everywhere. My grandparents used to be camp hosts down there. And so they got to be quite friendly with essentially all of the rangers for a period of time in the 80s to early 90s. And we would get all of their stories too. And some of them are pretty good. I could actually, too much to say for this podcast, but I could dig up some information and send it your guys' way that you can post it later.
That would be great.
So,
yeah. We could read the stories on our paranormal postcards episode.
There you go.
So,
yeah. I'll send you what I got.
Please do.
Please do.
Sure thing. But aside from Point Lookout, and to be clear, later on, we did investigate the lighthouse. We did it twice. One time with the first group I was in, and then one time we did it with Spiritus. Nothing either time.
Wow.
Completely, for lack of a better word, dead.
Yeah.
And we actually realized when we were there, at the time, the lighthouse had, they weren't original windows, but I think they were single pane windows. So the bleed in of noise, because like I said, there is a loop that's right there, and there's some parking there too. It's also, there's a lot of people fishing right there as well. You get a lot of noise, along with all of the sound of the crashing waves and seagulls and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So the bleed in of ambient noise on the audio was pretty, it was there. It was steady. You had to kind of listen in between to try to find anything.
We had that when we were at Pennhurst, even at parts where Jen and I were in a building by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because there's all these people outside, it's hard to really gauge, are we hearing that in here, or is that noise traveling from out there? And at one point we thought we heard something, but they just had this weird plastic over some windows that wasn't taped well, and it was just the wind kind of kind of getting the plastic to kind of like wobble back and forth, and we're like, okay.
Yeah. We had it. We also had that at the old jail, because the old jail in St. Augustine is not very big, and they had 12 people in their total, and they did split us up 6 and 6 because it was 2 floors. But we definitely caught some stuff on the audio that we thought was interesting. But because there were so many other people in there also investigating, it was really hard to determine if it was an EVP or just another one of the groups asking questions. So,
yeah, those things are tough to sort.
Okay, so the next location we're going to talk about that Don has had some personal experiences is the Dr. Samuel Mudd House. So just like the Point Lookout, I'm going to go into just a little brief history about it, and then we'll talk to Don about what he got to experience. So this is located in Waldorf, Maryland, which is in Royal Charles, I can't talk, Royal Charles County. It's a peaceful farmland now, but in 1865, it was a key stop on one of the most infamous manhunts in U.S. history. So it was built sometime between 1857 and 1859. Dr. Samuel A. Mudd's farmhouse, also known as St. Catherine, was a typical 19th century Southern home, until history crashed through its door in the form of a limping assassin. On April 15th, 1865, just hours after President Abraham Lincoln was shot, John Wilkes Booth and accomplice David Harold arrived at Mudd's house. Booth had broken his leg during a dramatic escape from Ford's Theater. Dr. Mudd treated Booth's injury, let him rest, and then allowed him to leave. Whether he already knew that Booth had assassinated the president is still debated, but that stop tied him forever to this crime. Mudd was arrested and tried as a co-conspirator and sentenced to life in prison at Fort Jefferson in the Dry Tortugas. He served 4 years before being pardoned by President Andrew Johnson in 1869. The house does have its share of ghost stories. Visitors have reported cold spots, eerie feelings, and the sound of footsteps when no one is upstairs. Some say that the ghost of Dr. Mudd himself still walks the halls, caught in a loop of guilt or injustice, depending which, story you believe. And others claim that Booth's short stay left more than just his broken leg behind. Today, the home is preserved as the Dr. Samuel A. Mudd House Museum, complete with the original furnishings, Civil War era artifacts, and a full retelling of the Lincoln conspiracy from a Southern Maryland perspective. So, Don, tell us your experience at the Mudd House.
Sure. My first paranormal group that I was with, I'm basically there as a rookie. It is my first investigation. I've had experiences, obviously, that I've said before, my own. And to that point, that had been it. So I am nervous. I want to impress my new group. I can be an asset. I'm going to help you guys out. I'm going to get in there, get my hands dirty, all that kind of good stuff. And we get to the Mudd House. And,
sorry, not to interrupt, but actually to interrupt. Did they give you dowsing rods and then make fun of you for it?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that, thankfully.
No, they weren't assholes, Jen.
Oh my gosh. I gotta have the backstory here.
No, you did that to me.
I don't remember this at all.
You don't remember that?
We did not do
You guys did that to me. You handed me dowsing rods. You and Chris handed me dowsing rods the time that I came to investigate with you guys. And you guys handed them to me and were like, yeah, this is how you use them. And I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't seem like a great...
It's ringing a bell now.
Right? This is weird. Like, yeah. I didn't think they did the kind of dowsing rod type, but whatever. I'm like, I don't want to judge. They're telling me how to use it. So, of course, because dowsing rods work on whether or not you move your hands, we got interactions with them. So then I'm starting to get excited because I'm like, oh, I'm getting something. Then y'all laugh at me like, I can't believe you did them. Yeah. You don't remember that? I can't believe you don't remember that.
I don't remember that. And I'm very sorry for my responsibility in that. Horrible.
It was probably Chris's idea. Let's be real. It was probably Chris.
Let's blame Chris. We'll just
it's easy to blame him. He's not here.
He's not here.
So.
We'll blame him.
Yeah. Don would never think of
something
like that.
He didn't even remember it.
Yeah. I'm sure I had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I derailed your story. Go back.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So we're at the Mudd House and we're setting up. And I was asked to help set up a camera up in the attic. They let us have attic access for the investigation.
Oh.
So before you know it, rookie, first investigation, haunted place. I am terrified to start, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm running a cable up into the attic. I'm by myself and I'm just sitting there with a radio in my hand and a camera. I connect it and I'm just waiting for them to give me direction as to where to point it and whatnot. And I got filled with the biggest sense of dread that I have ever had. I feel like maybe some of it was circumstance, but I have never experienced since then anything like that on an investigation.
Wow.
Where it was like, you should not be here right now. Yeah. I wanted to go. And as soon as they gave me the green light, that the camera was good, I hightailed it out of there. And thankfully, I wasn't by myself again for the rest of the investigation. I think that was, of course, again, it was my first group. I don't want to say who they were. Definitely learned some things of what to do and not to do with that group. And we applied those things later on. But being by myself, I think, was something that was like, we want to try to avoid anybody being by themselves if they don't have to. Because even then, when you're setting up an investigation, who's to say something couldn't happen at that moment? And what do you have to back up whatever it is you're saying, whatever you're experiencing? So that's just sort of a sidebar there. But yeah.
I had that similar experience at Penhurst when Jen and I walked into a room. We were together and I'm fine. Like, I buy haunted dolls because I want activity. So it's not something that I ever really run away from. And usually, if Jen or I feel uncomfortable, we'll kind of push each other to stay, kind of sit with it. And Jen had done that earlier in the day to me when there
Yeah.
was a part of the tunnels in there that I didn't quite, I don't like corners on things like that where it's like real dark. And she was like, okay, well, let's sit here then. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But we walked into an area in Penhurst, and as soon as we walked in, I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to leave right now.
She did.
Yeah.
And I actually stopped and said, looked behind me and said, I came here alone. I leave here alone. I don't know what it was, but I felt not great. And that I actually had nightmares.
She did.
I still have them occasionally, but
Mm.
for about 2 weeks, I had a nightmare every single night about being trapped in that same spot.
Wow.
Yeah. So that can be really, really creepy. And I wasn't even by myself. So
No, you weren't. You were
I
with
can't
me.
imagine if I would have been by myself.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. Well, our next place that Don has told us that he has had experiences at was Eastern State Penitentiary.
Which I want to
So
go to so bad
same.
one day.
It is a very, very cool spot. Definitely
Yeah.
one of those bucket lists. You want to be there at least one time.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely. So Eastern State Penitentiary is located in the Fairmont neighborhood in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It opened in 1829. Designed by John Haviland.
We'll go with it.
Yeah, that
Haviland?
sounds right.
John Haviland. Eastern State was one of the world's first true penitentiaries, emphasizing solitary confinement to inspire penitence. Its radial floor plan and grand architecture became a model for over 300 prisons worldwide. So some notable inmates at Eastern State Penitentiary was Alphonse Scarface Capone. Chicago's infamous mob boss spent 8 months here in 1929 to 1930. His cell was reportedly furnished with fine furniture, oriental rugs, and a cabinet radio, because that's what we got to make sure the mob bosses have their cell in style.
Of course. And we've talked about Al Capone before when we did the Alcatraz episode.
Right.
So he was at both locations.
He spent a lot of time in prison, I guess.
He did.
Also, Slick Willie Sutton, notorious bank robber known for his multiple prison escapes.
That's quite the nickname.
Yes, it is. Slick Willie.
Can't say I've heard of Slick Willie before, but maybe I have.
Quite the nickname right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Eastern State is considered one of America's most haunted sites, as they
Like
all
everything.
are.
Yeah.
Visitors and staff have reported shadowy figures, eerie sounds, and ghostly experiences, contributing to its reputation as a paranormal hotspot. Now a museum and historic site, Eastern State offers tours that delve into its complex history, architecture, and reports of hauntings.
Yeah. One day we'll do a whole episode
Definitely.
on Eastern State.
Yeah.
At some point.
After you come down and we go there.
Yeah.
Definitely enough material for sure.
Oh, for sure. Don, what was your experience at Eastern State?
So we got a special tour. One of my buddies was in a band at the time, and one of my buddies in my band had a friend who had keys to Eastern State.
Oh.
Yeah. He ran, I don't know his title, but he basically ran the tours.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. We got to go places that most don't. And there's a couple of, oh gosh, I don't know what they're called, but basically the penitentiary, I guess wings, they have different multiple wings, and some are safe for people to go. And some of the penitentiary is, at the time, it's been years since I've been there, but was, I guess, dilapidated. We were able to go into some of these rundown spots where rain had come through, it was literally falling apart.
Right.
And that is where Chris and I had brought some gear. It was supposed to be mostly literally just a tour, but it was at night. We had the whole place to ourselves. but they let Chris and I kind of post up in one of these wings that was a little bit run down, and we had a good time in that wing. We had set up a laser that went the entire length of the wing, and there was one point where you could it's I wish we were able to record it, but basically you could see things traveling through the laser
Oh,
that
wow.
didn't I can't explain what it was. Is the truth. It didn't make sense, the things
Yeah.
that we were seeing.
Right.
It could have been dust, it could have been moisture, sure, but
Mm,
it was a wild experience to sit there and to see that. That was probably, I think, of all the investigating I've ever done, like the most science-based thing that has ever happened, where it's like, wow, this is working. This is something
right.
that's working. Your light's going off, by the way, in the
Oh,
background. I just noticed, it's the first I've seen. It's like a little twinkle,
it's been going off randomly throughout the
I
episode.
just noticed it.
For the listeners, I have a little like balloon light that I set on my like bookshelf behind me where my haunted dolls are. And it's been pretty active today, actually responding to questions and turning on and off
Yeah.
on command. We warned
That's wild.
Don that if he
Yeah.
sees it, it's my dolls that are doing it. So it just started flickering.
Yeah, sorry to sidetrack myself there. So
Please, if you
yeah, I
listen to
mean,
any of our podcasts, you'll know that sidetrack changes are kind of our thing.
That's kind of what
Right.
our entire podcast is based off of. So you
Yeah.
fit right in.
keeps everybody on their toes. So yeah, so it was just, other than the fact, we got to go in the guard tower. We got to just, it was super cool. Definitely anyone who's into the paranormal whatsoever, it's got to be, you got to get there at some point
Yeah.
or another and check it out. And we were just very lucky to be able to have a chance to get a couple exclusive areas to be able to spend some time in. And yeah, it paid off.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right, so now we're going to talk about how I met Don.
Yeah. I mean, we've
a good
kind of
one.
talked about it before, but
A little
let's refresh our listeners.
Yes, let's do that.
I lived in a house, as you all know, that had a
As
lot of
opposed
activity
to
in it.
like living outside.
Like a tent,
Yeah. She didn't live in a tent. She lives in a house.
not in a tent.
No,
in a house.
I
tent,
lived in
no
a
tent.
house that had a lot of activity, is what I said. So when we first moved in, I was kind of terrified when I found the show Ghost Hunters, and watching them in people's homes calmed me down a little bit. But then I was like, I want to know what's going on. So I contacted a paranormal group, and they came out and they were terrible. Absolutely terrible. I was not at all happy with them. They like called me and told me they had this EVP of like one of the investigators' names, but when you listen to it, it was obviously the other investigator. Like it wasn't even a question in your brain. Like it was just, there was bad stuff like that. And then I put something on an online, I don't know what it was, like a message board or something I was on, about how they told me they caught this evidence and they told me what it was. And then I talked about it, and then they sent me an email to like yell at me for talking about it before they were finished reviewing everything. And I was like, what? Like you told me, why'd you tell me anything before you finished reviewing it then?
Right.
So I was, I don't know, kind of complaining and venting about that group. And I got a response from Dawn that said, hey, it sounds like you're really unhappy with this group. I am a part of, I'm not going to say the name of a group, but another group. And, if you were interested in having us come out to investigate, just let me know. Now, one of the reasons that I was like, yeah, I think I'll do this is because of that group was a part of something that made me feel like I could trust them a little bit more than just your average group. So they came out to the house and they did an investigation. And I don't think they found very much in that investigation, but they said they were going to come back and do it again. And I had something like DVDs of the show Ghost Hunters or a something that was laying out in the house. And I guess that they had determined, some of the people in the group determined that there wasn't activity in my home and I was just a Ghost Hunters fan. And they told Dawn that I was just a Ghost Hunters fan, and that's why I contacted them. And he was like, she didn't contact us at all. I contacted her. And it was right around that time that Don and Chris, because Chris was in the group as well, they decided that they were going to leave that group and start their own group. And when Don called to tell me that, I was really sad because, well, no, actually, what had happened before that was before the whole group was supposed to come back, Don and Chris just came back. And they kind of did like their little mini thing, and they had an experience there. Don did. And then Don went back to them and they were like, no, she's just a Ghost Hunters fan. So Don and Chris said that they were going to start their own group. And I said, am I allowed to not use that other group and stay with you guys? And they're like, we're glad you said that. So that's how I ended up having them come back out and do investigations that eventually led to me joining the group and then Jen joining the group. But Don, would you like to tell them the experience that you had in the house? I mean, I guess I can tell them I've talked about on the podcast before how I did have a shadow figure that kind of stayed at the end of our hallway and would kind of go back and forth between 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, would kind of dart in and out of that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
right. Which was exactly what I saw. Mm-hmm. I saw that shadow figure. Mm-hmm. Chris did as well. I mean, we both saw it just sitting there, and, everything of course, a lot of times when we investigate, I don't think it's a necessity, but typically it's dark. You want whatever the natural environment is at that time, right? So lights are off, but your eyes adjust. And there's always some ambient light from street lights or whatever it may be. So you can just, at the time, I'm sitting in a sofa and you could just barely see the end of the hallway there. And at the end of the hallway, there's a door. There was a door to the right and a door to the left. And all of a sudden, that ambient light disappeared. And there was just no light. It was just black. And it took me a sec. Like, I didn't quite realize what I was seeing at the time. And it wasn't until Chris said to me, did you see that? Then I was like, holy crap. I think that's what Kelly's been talking about this whole time.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was. And it was affirmation for me that, like, okay, I'm glad we left the first group. You know what I mean? You can't let those, whatever your own opinions, you got to let my opinion, you got to let the evidence speak for itself.
Absolutely.
And sure, it didn't happen the first time, and it might have not happened the second time, but we believed our client. And I don't want to say it paid off, because it's not what we were there to do. We weren't there for ourselves. We weren't there to experience anything. If anything, that experience helped us, in my opinion, tell the client, okay, you're not losing your mind.
Yeah.
We're seeing this also. So at that point, it's like, okay, now what? Now what do you want? Do we try to get this to stop? Or are you comfortable with it? And that's just where the conversation started from there at that point. But it was an experience. And at that point, it was like, okay, I think Kelly, like, it felt to me like from that point, like our relationship changed. It went from client and investigator to more of it almost felt like you were one of us at that point. That's how I took it. So then when, I don't remember how long it was down the road that you had become a part of the team, but it was just like, oh yeah, sure, of course. It was just, it felt natural.
For us, like, living in the house, and when I first started, because that wasn't like some of the first activity I saw at all. When I first started seeing that, I would see this even with the lights on. Like, you would see a head peek out from around the door, and it was just like solid black. And then you could literally watch it like dart really fast from one room to the other. It would just like boom, 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 boom. And it would sometimes run into the bathroom and slam the door. And then I'd go over and open the bathroom door, and there's nobody in the bathroom. Except for one time there was a man in the bathroom that scared the shit out of me. And he looked so real that I don't know how I knew it was a ghost. And Jen and I have talked about that moment on the podcast.
Yeah. Because I've
And
seen
I remember
that
you, I
man.
remember, yeah. I remember you telling me about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was so real. It literally just looked like a person. I said, which is really weird that I called Don and not 911.
Yeah.
But
Did you get a picture? Did you get a picture?
And the
Jen saw
crazy
that same
thing, yeah,
person.
the crazy thing about that guy is Kelly, obviously, as we became friends and I started coming over and hanging out, I knew that her house was haunted, and I've always been interested in the paranormal. And I'd been over many times at that point and spent the night and all of that. And I went into the bathroom to use the bathroom as one does. I turned on the light, and just right over my shoulder was the man. And Kelly had never described him to me. All she said was, I've seen an apparition of a man in the bathroom. That's it. So then I, peed because I had to pee. So that took priority. So after he disappeared, I peed, and then I came back out and I sat down on Kelly's couch and I looked at her and I said, I think I just saw the man in your bathroom. And she's like, what do he look like? And I described him to a T, exactly what Kelly had seen before. And that, I think, was just super validating of we had both seen the same thing, despite me having no prior knowledge of what he looked like.
To my knowledge, that's the only 2 times that man has ever been seen. I only saw him that one time, and then Jen in the bathroom. Yeah. No clue what that was about. But I wonder if it wasn't somehow that shadow figure, maybe somehow was able to take a more of a full apparition form as well, but maybe it took too much energy to do that or whatever. I have no idea.
Because I never saw the shadow figure. Well,
maybe
I never saw the shadow figure sober.
Right.
So
that's why we can't say. Right.
It's debatable.
Jen and I went out one night. We went out with 2 friends. We went to Nick's Fish House to see a friend of mine, Jason, is in a band called Bad with Names. And we went to see him play. And we had 8 lemon drop martinis a piece.
And I
might start seeing shadows too if I had 8 lemon drops.
The next morning, I had slept in her son's room because her son wasn't staying there. So I just, was in there. And the next morning when I woke up in my very hungover state, standing over the bed was the shadow figure. And then it disappeared. But again, I take that with a grain of salt because I was very, very hungover.
Right.
Yeah. And then she got up and went to work. I don't know how she did that. I slept till 5 o'clock that day.
I don't know how I went to work that day either.
Wow.
You were student teaching at the time, weren't you?
No, I was working at Petco at the time.
Oh, okay.
I was still a dog trainer at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
But for me, when I first started seeing that shadow thing, and I went to the eye doctor and I got my eyes checked because I wanted to make sure I didn't have some eye condition that was, I don't know, messing with the way I was perceiving things, or before I was like, I think that's a ghost. I think that's a spirit. But then the thing that really got me was the one day I was sitting in the chair that looked directly down the hallway, and Rebecca, my daughter, was 3 years old, and she was sitting on the floor and she had her back to the hallway, and I was watching TV and I glanced over and I saw the shadow figure thing. And I didn't say anything. I just was watching TV again. And Rebecca looked up at me, almost like she sensed it, and said, Mommy, sometimes when I sit in your chair, I see a shadow man down there. And I said, down where, baby? And she was like, down the hall. And I was like, oh, I said, does he scare you? And she said, no, I just said, I will be nice to you and you be nice to me. And I was like, that sounds great, Rebecca. And that was the deal that Rebecca made with the shadow man. I'll be nice to you. You be nice to me. Now, I think that Rebecca may have sensed that because Rebecca's nursery was in one of the rooms that the thing would dart between when she was little. And when Rebecca was sleeping in the middle of the night, the mobile over her crib would turn on and you could hear it click, 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 and then it would play. So you could hear somebody spinning the thing to turn it on.
Weird.
That's equal parts creepy and sweet.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
Absolutely.
know? So it's okay, it's terrifying, but
But
it's got good intentions.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
It was
trying to
never
soothe your baby. It's fine.
Right, exactly.
right. So for me, it was like when you and Chris saw that, it's somebody outside of my family that has now come in and saw, and then you guys came back and you tried to figure out how that light would be blocked out in that way. You guys were trying to debunk that and you just couldn't figure out how that would have happened.
Yeah, we couldn't do it.
So
That's
I do
right.
have to ask, and Kelly, you might not like this, but I don't care. Don, do you want to tell our listeners what else you discovered in Kelly's house when you were investigating something
I
that
don't think Don wants to say. I can tell
may
by the
have
look on his face.
been accidentally
We
left?
heard, when we checked our audio later, we heard these vibrating noises coming from the bedroom area.
Is that it?
I can't do it. I can't do it. But I'm glad we're able to laugh about it now, because we were definitely laughing about it then.
Yeah.
I remember the next day walking in the bedroom and going, huh, was that there all night?
So for those who have not been
was.
able to piece together what we're talking about, Kelly may or may not have left a vibrator out on her nightstand when
Maybe.
Don came to investigate
Not on the
her house.
nightstand. It wasn't on the
Oh.
nightstand,
Where was
but
it?
it was in the room. And we kind of had like this weird like shelf thing. It was visible. The funny thing was, like, it still had the plastic around it. It had never been opened, but it was still there. It was there, and it was clearly, there was no like, is that what I think it is? No, it was. It was
not.
I'm trying to think of who saw it first. I think Chris saw it first.
Of course.
And
Of course he
right,
did.
right. And he was like, Don, you got to go upstairs and just look to the right and tell me if you saw what I saw. And I came down. I was like, I saw it.
I
saw
saw
it.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was later after I joined the group that investigation we were talking about, where we were drinking the night before we investigated, that I said to them, I remember going, hey, do you guys remember when you investigated my house? Did you notice that I accidentally left a vibrator out on the shelf? And Don, you turned like 4 shades of red and you laid face down
Literally
on the
on the
dining room floor, cracking up.
I haven't laughed that hard. I don't know if I've laughed that hard since. That was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
God, that was good.
Oh, yeah.
We were very professional. We didn't mention it at the time.
They never mentioned a thing until I said something.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
It's
great.
like, okay, we can't bring it up. It's like, yeah, of course we can't bring it up.
Of course. And then, of course, I had to bring it up on the podcast, because how could I not?
It's too funny
Absolutely.
not to, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
because
a
like
good
I'm
one.
the first person to own a vibrator, right? Like nobody
Yeah.
else owns one.
Never.
Just me.
Yes.
Nobody has
Ma'am,
that.
we found the source of your anomaly. You just need to put in fresh batteries. That's all.
Those were the olden days where vibrators used batteries and didn't have little chargers to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was, yeah. But
And
it
that's
is
just
what it
one
is.
story. There's so many more.
Yeah. We had a great time. I miss
Yes, we
it.
did.
I think often I wish we could get the group back together.
I don't have the heart to take down the Facebook page. I can't do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I
Right.
can't do it. I just see that it's there and I just like, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I'm at with it.
It's a part
was
of
so
our
much fun.
history. Yeah.
Yeah. I was sad that I only
Yeah, it
got
was
to
a
be a
blast.
part of the one investigation, but it was a great one. I mean, not that paranormal wise, but it was fun.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. It was also like equal parts team bonding.
Yeah.
Was that weekend. So
Yeah.
we definitely bonded. And yeah, I mean, we had a good time with it. I haven't talked to I haven't talked to Kelby, or I'm still like, friends on Facebook. I know she's had
Yeah.
a kid, and
Yeah.
I know
Mhm.
Chris has 2.
Wow.
Missy, I haven't talked to her in forever.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I need to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, we'll let
No,
them
we had
know
a good
that we
time.
have this episode's out, and they should
There you
listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So awesome.
Yeah. I think that would
For
be
sure.
cool. Well, if you ever want to get the group back together again, just let
Yeah.
us know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Give me
Just
enough
keep
notice
posted.
to book a plane ticket to come back to Maryland.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I'll reach out to Chris and say something to him.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I actually didn't see him too long ago. He's part of the Masons Lodge in Annapolis, and he was actually talking about just he and I doing something there because of course, they've had some activity there, Annapolis being as old as it is.
Yeah.
And that never really came to fruition, but I did walk the lodge with him for something completely different, and it's a cool spot. So maybe we could work that out, something along those lines.
I'd be
Would
down.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be
Absolutely
really cool.
And that brings us to the end of this episode about Don's unforgettable experiences, the strange events that sparked a deeper dive into the paranormal, and the connections that brought our ghost hunting paths together.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, why don't you go ahead and give us a follow and give us a 5-star rating?
Yes, please. And if you want to listen to us talk more, then you can join our Patreon.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
Sounds like a good idea.
You should go do that.
Yep. And if you have any paranormal stories yourself that you would like us to read on the air, you could send us an email at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com. Katie, Lynn, it's getting old. The damn stories in.
Send us the stories. Come on. Thank you for joining us on this exciting interview with our friend Don. Remember, as you listen to our experiences, keep this in mind.
If it's not your ghost,
it's not your problem.
Until next time, stay spooky.
And stay skeptical.